What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. We have our first official cut of significance in the fantasy football world for the 2022 NFL offseason. The New York Giants have just released Devontae Booker as well as Kyle Rudolph. These may seem like minor moves, but they do have some important significance that I want to talk about real quick in this video. So I'm going to be rebranding this channel. I was previously didn't really have a full-fledged name. In my titles, I was calling it Fantasy Football 201. We're going to be rebranding this, though, as Second Order Fantasy Football. I want you guys to think about the second order effects of moves and how players will come in, because that's where you really differentiate yourself between casual fantasy football players and fantasy football players that can win championships. So I want to talk about this transaction for the New York Giants. So Devontae Booker cut today, as I just mentioned. So he was under contract for another season. Had an okay season with the Giants. He was Saquon Barkley's backup running back. So he was a key handcuff in the world of fantasy football. Kind of disappointing when he did actually go in there, though. But I think a lot of that can be contributed to the fact that Joe Judge did a very poor job creating the offense this season, and as a result, he got fired. So Devontae Booker, potentially of interest for this upcoming season because he was going to be Saquon's handcuff. But now that he is cut, this opens up a significant opportunity for somebody else to step in to take on the vaunted Saquon Barkley handcuff role, which is pretty valuable considering how often this guy has been injured the past few seasons. So what I think would most likely happen, right now the New York Giants on their roster, they have Elijah Penny and Gary Brightwell, who are both two running backs that were third to fourth string backups and really not giving you much in terms of high upside potential. But what New York is likely to do, especially depending on what happens with these Saquon Barkley trade rumors, which I think are probably not going to happen, they're going to go after a rookie running back to take some of the pressure off Saquon Barkley. So I'm just telling you right up front, I'm not spending a lot of time focusing on this combine in terms of who shows a lot of potential, who could do this, who could do that, because ultimately I think it depends with these rookies what system they end up in, if they're going to get that opportunity or not. So, but I do think New York is now in play for getting a rookie running back, especially now that they don't have a significant backup for Saquon Barkley. He's had some injury issues, etc. So pay attention to who the Giants are going to be drafting behind Saquon, because this could end up being a very significant piece. And if he does actually get traded too, then this is going to open up even more opportunity for whoever fills that handcuff role as the second running back on this team. Another roster move that New York made today, they cut Kyle Rudolph. Kyle Rudolph at one time, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, was a very good fantasy tight end for the Minnesota Vikings. Kind of fallen off the cliff in terms of his productivity. He says he's not going to retire, but in terms of his fantasy football future projections, he's pretty much retired because he's really not going to give you a ton of upside. The hope here was with him, though, was that, you know, if Evan Ingram left, because Evan Ingram is also an impending free agent for the New York Giants, then maybe this could open up some opportunity for Kyle Rudolph to step in at the tight end position, but that's not going to happen. But what it does create in terms of the Giants is a potential opening at the tight end position. You pay attention to the New York Giants coaching move. They now have Brian Daboll, who was previously the the offensive coordinator with the Buffalo Bills. And look what happened with Dawson Knox this past season, who came out of nowhere, ended up being a very solid tight end contributor in fantasy football, tight end one throughout the season. So even with games missed. So what this means is that if they implement a similar offense, this could open up more opportunities for Evan Ingram potentially to finally break out this season. I'm not particularly high on Evan Ingram, as I've talked about in my previous videos, but you do have to be intrigued by the possibility if they do bring him back. That's a big question, though. Will they bring back Evan Ingram as an impending free agent, or will he seek more money elsewhere? So ultimately what I think this means is that Kyle Rudolph, he really was not going to give you much in terms of fantasy production except taking snaps away from somebody who could be an up-and-coming tight end. But now that he's off the New York Giants, you have a clear opportunity for somebody to step in for this team at the tight end position who could break out in 2022. Remains to be seen who that is, but don't forget about that, especially if Evan Ingram leaves. Now that Kyle Rudolph is gone too, Brian Daboll could make this tight end position pop in 2022. So that's all I've got for this video. I'm going to post these short videos as these updates come in throughout the early parts of the NFL offseason. But as a reminder, pay attention to these smaller moves and these second order effects in terms of how it'll affect fantasy rosters and teams moving forward. That's all I've got for this video. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.